Bitcoin is at $59,000, which begs the question, are we going to be headed significantly lower because Bitcoin cannot hold above the $60,000 price level? Or is this completely okay because we haven't actually reached my point of invalidation yet? And we might be able to actually recover this and get back above $64,000. So we're going to be covering that in this YouTube video. If you're excited for it, do me a favor and smash all those likes as you are coming in. Double check the phenomenal links that we've got down below. By the way, this video was absolutely huge. It was about the dollar dying. It was the full video is over on X. You need to watch it. If you've missed it, you've missed out on some amazing content. It is a 17-minute video, super casual conversation. You never get this side of me on YouTube, but Twitter got it. So you should be a little bit jealous, and you should go find that link in the description below. While you're down there, go ahead and check out Blowfin. It's no KYC exchange. You get thousands of dollars in bonuses, some very, very cool free shit that you're going to be getting based off your trading volume. So definitely check that out if you are interested. And as usual, be mindful of your country's local regulations, because a lot of these exchanges are banned in certain countries in the world. So let's carry on here with the Bitcoin analysis. We are at $59,000. We're basically establishing a new sideways trading range here, just below $60,000, which is exactly what we were talking about in the previous video, because I was saying that the 60,000 price level is becoming very mushy now. The 60,000 price level is becoming very blurry now, and that is exactly what's happening. We are clearly a little bit below 60k, but not really worried about it. And I think we're probably even going to be seeing things like the fear and greed index catching up with where the market is now. We're looking at 30. This is going to update in 2.5 hours, so you will know probably by the time that you're watching this video. So that's super, super cool. My bottom line is that this is fine, right? I'm not too worried about it. I got a couple other things I want to cover with you, specifically ETF and inflation stuff. We'll get to that in just a second. But just based on this particular price action, it's okay, right? I'm not too worried about it. Like I said, we haven't reached my particular level of invalidation. If we take a look at some indicators that might offer some resistance to the market, you can see that 4-hour Ichimoku cloud is still standing right here. We're still kind of just trading up and down around it, so it's not really telling us particularly much. And on the daily time frame, we have continued to get rejected from this daily Ichimoku cloud, but this resistance is closing up, and that's exactly what I anticipate will end up happening in this market, right? The Ichimoku cloud is already kind of preempting this for us because it is such a cool indicator, but basically what it does, because it can see the future, and by the way, if you are interested in this indicator and how to use it, you can type this into the YouTube search bar and you will get my full tutorial on how to get this indicator, how to use it, and all of that beautiful stuff. So go ahead and check that out. But while we're here, one of the beautiful things that the Ichimoku does is it, of course, does predict the future. And so it can also kind of tell us when our resistance when we could expect our resistance to get a little bit weaker, okay? And that's going to be very, very useful to tell us that, you know, there's going to be a kind of opportunity for the market to break out. Basically, in other words, it's going to be a lot easier for the market to break out at this particular price level. I'm sorry, at this particular time versus over here, right? The cloud is a little bit thicker, so we're expecting it to be a little bit stronger, but as it gets a little bit thinner, we can't really expect that anymore, so that's absolutely great. If we take a look at this on the daily EMA ribbon, we still have resistance up here as well, so clearly our longer-term resistance levels have been working up to this point. That is not something that has to worry me at all. I'm not worried about it, but it's worth keeping in mind, and that's why we're talking about it here. Now, if we do manage to get above this particular price resistance area, this price area, then I am strongly going to be expecting that Bitcoin can get back above $64,000. And the reason that I'm saying that is because we have now been finding resistance here for 7 days, for 1 week now, that we've been kind of finding resistance in this particular price zone. And to me, you know, this is not the strongest zone of resistance, right? I mean, we pretty much overcame it anyway, right? Take a look at this. We had this right here. We had this. We had a couple of wicks and even some candle closes and stuff like that. So there was plenty above that $60,000 price area for me to feel like, you know, we've kind of already broken the range. So the fact that we're just kind of trading sideways here now is just telling me that, look, we're consolidating. We're getting ready for it. I'm not worried. And I think that we are still kind of poised to get back up to that $64,000 price zone. And the most important thing, in my opinion, would be getting back above this level, but significantly above it, at least significantly above it. You know, but yeah, to be fair, actually, not minimally above it should be fine too. But most importantly, the most significant part of this would be that Bitcoin actually comes back down to this particular area of support and bounces off it. That's what we actually want to see. We want to see that bounce, and that's where we can really very, very strongly know that actually we're flipping zones. We don't really have that yet, right? Like, we kind of got it over here. If we take a look at this $55,000 support zone, we were finding a little bit of resistance here. We got above it, flipped it into support, back tested it twice. That was okay. So we did it right here on this 55k, 54k zone. But obviously, we need that to happen at 60k, or I think more importantly at 64. If it happens at 60k, it probably looks something a little bit like this. That's still great. I'd still be very, very happy with that. But I'm an ambitious guy. I want to see a little bit more than that. So if we can get 64, something a little bit like this, that is going to be a lot more impressive to me, because it's also going to be several thousands of dollars higher. So that's going to be very, very interesting. If we take a look at Bitcoin's dominance, We've seen Bitcoin's dominance range a little bit. It's fallen down from about 57.5 down to about 56.8. Really nothing particularly concerning. Bitcoin's dominance does also find support and resistance pretty regularly actually these days. And so we've kind of gotten some really nice bounces off this price, off this dominance level here, and I think that that could potentially allow Bitcoin to rise a little bit higher. If we take a look at Ethereum against Bitcoin, it is showing us that we are starting to get this bounce out of this range. I want to take another victory lap, especially for those of you that have been subscribed to this channel for a while. You're going to know that we've been talking about this particular Ethereum Bitcoin analysis for a very, very long time. Shout out to you, and let me know in the comment section below if you actually remember all of my analysis about Ethereum Bitcoin. Just say I was here for your Ethereum analysis, because it was spot on, absolutely spot on. A lot of people doubted me, but that is normal when I'm correct. That's kind of what you expect. I have played this market so incredibly well. I can't remember now, but I'm pretty sure I bought down here and sold up here. That was back in 2022. Obviously, I sold all of my Ethereum up here. I sold all of my altcoins way back, actually, way before that. But this was pretty much the point where I stopped being in the altcoin market, and obviously because I like to make money, that was actually the right idea. A lot of people don't actually like to make money. They just want to feel a sense of camaraderie, and they want to feel like they fit in with a brotherhood much more than they want money. And if you don't believe me, open up your own fucking Telegram chat, your own fucking Discord app, and you'll see just how many dickheads you're associating yourself with, who know absolutely nothing about trading, just like you if you're in those group chats. And when you take a cold, hard look at yourself, you'll realize that you haven't been in this for the money so far. You have been in this for the excitement. But as soon as you can come to terms with that, you can start making money, and you can start making plays like this. So if that kind of thing excites you, if you want more of that, then do me a favor. And like I said, smash up those likes and double check that you are subscribed to this very time-sensitive YouTube channel in terms of updates on the market. Again, by the way, this was such a good video. This didn't get many views at all because, I didn't do like a, big title or anything like that. But you gotta watch it. It's very, very important dollar analysis. I'm not going to cover it in this one, and the full video is on X. You'll find the link to that in the description here. But I mean, such a good video here. You really, really do need to check it out. Ethereum against Bitcoin, like I said, I'm still expecting this to potentially drop a little bit lower, at least down to this red line here, or even into this support zone that I've got at 0.3 BTC per token. So we'll come back to that in just a bit, because I'm not too, I'm not really expecting anything crazy to happen relatively soon on this particular market. So I'm not going to be kind of focusing on it that much. But, I still think that we're on track. We've already hit my first major target zone. We bounced above it a little bit. Obviously, that's what you'd expect. I would even be very happy if Ethereum managed to get all the way back up to this 0.53, 0.52 Bitcoin zone. So that would be really, really nice resistance. And Ethereum does, regularly kind of climb back up on its way down. So it would make a lot of sense if that happened again. And if we take a look at the S&P 500, which is obviously going to be one of the most important markets here, it has just closed, and it has printed yet another phenomenal upward daily candle here. So I think that's also worth paying attention to in this market here. I think that if we are continuing to paint bullish candles on the S&P 500 directly into resistance zones, then we are looking pretty good. And this is, of course, a resistance zone. Just kind of looking at this particular box, we can kind of tighten that up a little bit. Look at this on the 4-hour time frame. You can see very, very clearly that this is an important price zone for the S&P 500. So I think what's actually going to be really important is what happens tomorrow. Obviously, this is going to reopen in about 16 hours from now, so you'll find out tomorrow. Obviously, we'll be here with a video, maybe even a live stream. We'll see. So if you are interested in that, again, just double check that you are staying tuned to this channel. You got those, you got the bell icon checks and all that. But yeah, this is where I'm going to have to start expecting resistance. And if this does turn into resistance for the S&P 500, then that could be a bit of a problem for Bitcoin. But with that said, the S&P 500 is looking pretty good. And even if it does find resistance here, I wouldn't really be too worried. It's got support below it, right? So it can definitely kind of bounce down to a level like this, and then you get the really easy kind of buy down here, and then you can start expecting it to move back up again, right? And that's kind of obviously what we've been doing up to this point already. You get these kind of shallow pullbacks, and then you continue on. So that's kind of what I'd be expecting over here at this particular zone of resistance. If we take a look at the dollar is also looking like it could be wanting to bounce. So that really does coincide with the analysis that I was just sharing with you guys. I think kind of very clearly showing me that this market, that the dollar is just looking a little bit strong right now. So that might kind of explain some of the weakness on the S&P 500 that I think we might get. Again, how would that translate to Bitcoin? Probably means kind of revisiting the bottom of this range. You really don't want to spend too much time coming back down to the bottom of this range, in my opinion. The reason that I'm saying that is because this is, first of all, it's a relatively tight range, but second of all, the support isn't, super well established below 60K. I mean, we have a little bit, we have enough, right? I mean, if Bitcoin's going to make quick work of this, then we're fine. Like I said, what I really like about Bitcoin's chart in particular is that the daily Ichimoku cloud is getting smaller. In my experience, this is one of the best indications that you're actually going to be getting a breakout coming, because it very, very clearly shows you that resistance is weakening. And, you can see this from a lot of different perspectives, right? I think what's something that a lot of people tend to miss in these markets is that we're using different tools, but we're generally arriving at the same place, right? I mean, there's only going to be one successful trade at any given time in the market, right? Up or down. So, we're using different tools to kind of come to the same conclusions, but what I love is when those tools are unrelated and they're still pointing to the same picture, it just builds confidence, right? Ultimately, you can have everything going for you, and the probabilities just aren't kind of working for you on that day, and things can go badly, right? But we're not worried about that because the probabilities are on our side if we have a good system. So you just keep going, and mathematically you're kind of guaranteed to win if you have a good system. So that's my theory understanding of trading. You might disagree, you might think I'm completely wrong, but 7 years. So I think I've been doing this for a little bit of time now. And like I said, I think that, the Ichimoku cloud is showing us that this resistance level is getting a little bit weaker, but, you can just tell, right? There's a bit of common sense. We talk about this all the time. The more that you hit these kind of resistance zones, the weaker you expect them to get. So that's why I've been saying that this level is getting very blurry. It being blurry also means it should be easier for it to break this level. So like I said, 64 is going to be very, very important. But on the downside, if we do end up breaking below this red line, is it possible that we get a bit of resistance a little bit lower? Absolutely. It could mean that Bitcoin kind of forms, a pattern that looks a little bit like this. I don't really think that's going to happen. I think that if we kind of get below this red line, then, it's pretty much like 52K, 44K. Everyone's like, completely not interested in the $44,000 price level anymore, which to me is a little bit weird because it was a really interesting price level just a couple of days ago. But I don't get swayed that easily. I still think that 44K is great. I don't know if I'm going to get it, and I'm a little bit upset by that because I think 44K would be a phenomenal level for the market to drop down to, both for, more buying opportunities, more trading opportunities, most importantly, but also just because, the lower you drop, the easier it is to rise up from that point, because you wash out a lot of the supply, right? And this is a chart that I really want to kind of spend a bit of time talking to you guys about here. This is a list of the top 10 Bitcoin holders worldwide, and I do not know if this list is correct or not, but it looks reasonable at least. There might be other holders that are kind of slightly more anonymous people, but this is in terms of kind of bigger institutions, and in this case, Satoshi Nakamoto. And it's showing us, didn't realize US ETFs are on track to pass Satoshi in Bitcoin held in October. They are on track to pass Satoshi in October. BlackRock alone is already number 3 and on pace to be number 1 late next year, and it will likely stay there for a very long time. So this is from Eric. I'm not going to say that name. Is BlackRock going to overtake Satoshi? It seems like everybody wants to say yes. It obviously looks like it. It certainly looks like it. What we got to keep in mind is that these ETFs were launched in January of this year, and it's now August, right? So it's been about 7-8 months. That's a pretty short time compared to Satoshi, who has had these Bitcoins since 2009. So, clearly BlackRock is picking up. Satoshi's probably not going to be buying any more Bitcoin. I'm pretty sure that this wallet hasn't moved at all since 2009. I might be mistaken on that, maybe 2010, 11 or whatever, but it's been completely dormant since then. For all we know, the guy or the group of people could literally be dead by now. So, that might never move. I don't know. It's a very fun discussion. Maybe I should make a video on it. Everything we know about Satoshi so far. That's a really, really good idea. I am going to make a note of that. Bear with. I should make a video about everything we know about Satoshi Nakamoto so far. Yeah, just made a note of that. But yeah, we've got BlackRock kind of picking up here. Fidelity is the other US ETF. We've got MicroStrategy, Grayscale, the big names that we already know of, and then of course we've got Binance. Bitfinex, the U.S. government, Chinese government. So it just kind of shows, and we got to keep in mind Bitcoin's total supply is 21 million. So they're big numbers, but but they also kind of look small. But what we need to keep, for one holder to have this much is a lot. Implications of this. So look, and this is what you're interested in. What I say to people, when I was talking about this, my point I was making is that if the market kind of comes down here, that's going to wash out a lot of people out of the market, right? People that want to sell. I think where a lot of people go wrong, and shout out to Crypto Kirby, dude, if you're watching this, I fucking love you. I fucking miss you. We all love you. We all miss you. But I learned this from Crypto Kirby, and what he said is, you don't want to get excited when everybody has already pushed the green button because it means that they've already bought.
okay? It's much more exciting before that happens because that's where buying pressure hasn't come in yet, but it will be coming in. That's how I feel about these ETFs. Now, obviously, these ETFs are probably going to keep accumulating Bitcoin, so we're not late by any means. In fact, we're probably very, very early at this stage still, which is kind of crazy to me. But we do have 350k worth of Bitcoin that was bought up, and what's very, very clear, obviously, is that these ETFs were all launched kind of back here in the US. And so we already had a rally that came into it, and I think it's very naive of anybody to suggest that this was not a kind of speculative rally, especially this last leg here, which, mind you, was a 65%. I mean, from low to high, this was a 95% move, right? So, I think it's just naive to say that these moves weren't produced because of the hype from potential ETFs coming out. So, again, when everybody started to kind of push that green button, now they have some supply to sell. So I think this is actually really bad news. I think this is kind of one of the worst things that you can see for the crypto market. And if you disagree with me, it's probably because you're delusional. It's most likely not because you have a good line of reasoning. And so, because of that, we got to keep that in mind. There's a lot of Bitcoins that can get sold here. But like I said, I still think that we've got a lot to go. And, the way I expect, kind of institutions like BlackRock to scale out of positions, I would expect them to do it in a very dirty way. I'd expect them to do it with a lot of market manipulation, just like all of the other big players in the US typically do things in these markets. So, I think it's going to be, at least somewhat obvious. There's going to be a lot of euphoria. I just don't think we're there yet. But I think it is worth keeping in mind. And the implications if they surpass Satoshi Nakamoto, I don't really know. But what I do know is that the more people who hold an asset, the more people there are who can sell it. So I'm going to leave you with that. It's very basic supply and demand. Absolutely nobody considers facts like this. But that's why this YouTube channel exists. That's why you have my YouTube channel as a refuge from all the other idiots online that are out there. Okay, so here, while July CPI inflation is at 2.9%, inflation itself is much higher in many basic necessities. Car insurance is up by 18%. Transportation, this is all year over year, so as of 1 year ago compared to now. Transportation inflation, 9%. Hospitals, 6%, and so on. So I think this is really, really important. Since January 2020, the USD has lost 25% of its purchasing power. I think figures on this will vary. I think you can reasonably go all the way up to 30 or even 40% loss since January 2020, or even since like September 2019, for example. So, I'm just putting that out there. Obviously, inflation is much, much worse than it looks. This should be a positive factor for speculative investments, and obviously it has been, because if we take a look at gold, which is an asset that I've been telling you guys I'm expecting a very obvious breakout on for a very, very long time. 2020 was when we kind of entered this, sideways price range of kind of anywhere between 1,700 and 2,000. And 2024 was when we broke out, and I was telling you I was expecting this breakout. I was telling you as it was happening, right before it happened, everything. Gold moves slowly. It's very easy for me to analyze it. And gold did get a really, really big breakout. So I actually bought some real physical gold. I cannot kind of sing the tune of that loud enough. I think that it's one of the best things that anybody could do, for their finances, but I will not give anybody any financial advice anyway. So, don't do what I'm doing at all, but I don't really care what you do, actually, whether you do what I'm doing or not. But, I think, gold is just in a phenomenal position. It's already broken out. It's had, a 10-year period of, forming a cup, and then a 4-year period of forming a handle here. And now we're getting the breakout. And by the way, if you're curious, one of the ways that you can actually measure how high these things can go is just kind of measuring the height of the cup and then kind of taking that to your breakout point. And we have got a speculative target there of $2,800. So that's very, very cool indeed. I still think that we can go significantly higher. I'm still expecting like, $3,500 and stuff like that. So again, all good news, pointing in the direction of the dollar getting weaker, and investments going up. So I think that's going to be something we keep a very, very close eye on. 52k if we lose this particular support level. Below that, 48. Below that, 44. Still my favorite support level here. If we get above 60 with some conviction, I'm going to be like, yeah, everything's back on. I think it's going to be so easy for the market to just restart the bull market at this point. And, being honest, again, just kind of after being in this market for 7 years, if I had to guess, the way that I think it will happen, is just that one day you're going to wake up and there's going to be a God candle and you're going to be like, what the fuck happened? And then there's going to be another one and another one and another one. And before you know it, you're now going to be above, 67K, and it's just going to be so hard to expect resistance again at 72 or whatever. I just don't think there's any resistance left in this price range at all between 60 and 70. There are resistance levels yet left, but I don't think that they're difficult. At this point I can't feel worried that they may or may not break. So there you go, ladies and gents. I really hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, then do me a favor and smash those likes up. Double check that you are subscribed. And like I said, while you are down there, go ahead and check out the link to Blowfin, which is a no KYC platform. You get thousands of dollars in bonuses. Be aware of your country's local regulations. Bybit is linked down below. Apex Dex is linked down below as well. Absolutely phenomenal stuff. Check them out if they are legal in your country. And again, this beautiful video on X. One more time, you are missing out if you don't watch this one. I kind of feel like these are a pretty elite goated 2,500, 3,000 viewers because they got content that look, like when I'm on YouTube, I mean, look, we're at like what, minute marker 21 now, right? 20. So when we get like to later stages of these YouTube videos, I'm obviously a little bit more chill with you guys. At the beginning, I gotta like grab attention. It's just how it is on YouTube. But when I'm talking to a friend, I'm not worried about losing his attention. I'm not worried about watch time metrics and views and stuff like that. So you got a different, and this is kind of what VIPs we're getting, which we're not really kind of, it's still running. You can get in if you want, but I don't really talk about it much with you guys because I got a much better offer now, the exclusive package. That's also kind of linked right here. If you want to kind of get in touch with me, you can reach out to me with this link here. But that's also something that VIPs have kind of seen a lot of is, super relaxed. Analysis like this, also very, very in-depth. But there you go, guys. Hope you've enjoyed this one. You know what to do if you haven't. I'll see you all in the next one. Cheers.